Emir's flagship exploded in a blinding flash as the lone human ship's plasma cannons struck true, leaving the once magnificent warship a lifeless husk rapidly venting atmosphere into the void of space. The massive Hirogen fleet, representing the massed might of several conquered star systems, hung in shocked silence above the strategic warp nexus. Hours earlier, Ymir had stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the armada muster for the Empire's next conquest. Hundreds of advanced warships took up formation like a swarm of angry insects, bristling with devastating plasma batteries and sinister solar lances. Ymir surveyed the sight with cruel satisfaction, eager to unleash this overwhelming force on the primitive humans. Suddenly, the fleet's long-range sensors pinged an intruder alert. A solitary human vessel had dropped from warp into the heart of the mustering zone, brazenly approaching the alien ships. "What gall," Ymir barked with a sneer. "This human must have a death wish, blundering alone into the jaws of the mighty Hirogen armada. Hail that puny ship." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the rugged features of Captain Noah Brown, humanity's grizzled emissary. Ymir growled an ultimatum, offering the human one last chance to flee with his life before the Empire's unstoppable war machine purged him and his insignificant race from the galaxy. But Brown was unmoved by the alien's threats. His voice steady as a mountain, the captain declared, "I speak for all humanity when I say you and your kind are no longer welcome in our space. This warp nexus belongs to Earth. Withdraw now, or suffer the consequences of your arrogance." The Hirogen crew erupted in disbelieving laughter. The human's gall was matched only by his utter stupidity. "You dare demand our withdrawal?" Ymir roared. "Human, you fail to grasp the enormity of the force poised to descend upon your miserable worlds. The Hirogen Empire commands hundreds of planets, thousands of ships. Your territories will burn and your people will be enslaved. This is your only warning." Brown glared back, his eyes hard as space-tempered steel. "This is your only warning, Ymir. The line must be drawn here. This far, no further. Your campaign of conquest ends today, at the hands of humanity." The transmission cut out. Incensed at the human's unmitigated gall, Ymir bellowed, "All ships, fire at will. Let the destruction of this upstart serve as a message to all who would defy the Hirogen." The fleet unleashed an awesome salvo, more firepower than had ever been focused on a single target. The human ship should have been vaporized instantly. But impossibly, it remained intact, shielded against the onslaught. Then the small ship surged forward with blinding speed, weaving through the fusillade like a spirit of vengeance, drawing a bead on Ymir's flagship. Moments later, the Hirogen commander's world dissolved in plasma fire, the first casualty of humanity's stand against galactic tyranny. The bridge of Noah's ship erupted in cheers as the human weaponry tore through the Hirogen flagship's shields without difficulty. Brilliant lances of plasma and exotic matter projectiles struck critical systems with pinpoint accuracy, sending explosions rippling across the warship's hull. Escape pods blasted away from the crippled vessel as it listed helplessly, reactor breaches tearing it apart from within. "Target destroyed," the tactical officer reported, her voice trembling with adrenaline and vindication. "The flagship is breaking up." Noah allowed himself a tight smile as he watched the once mighty Hirogen command ship shatter into a rapidly expanding field of debris. The loss of their leader had thrown the alien fleet into chaos, their formation falling apart as individual captains struggled to process this shocking turn of events. But humanity wasn't about to give them time to regroup. "Launch the Hornet drones," Noah ordered. "Let's finish this." At his command, a swarm of sleek, deadly-looking combat drones poured from the human ship's launch bays. The cloud of nimble craft spread out with incredible speed and fell upon the disarrayed Hirogen fleet like a plague of mechanical locusts. The drones danced effortlessly around the clumsier alien ships, peppering them with precision strikes that punched through shields and armor with contemptuous ease. The lumbering warships struggled to land a hit on the elusive drones, their point defense systems woefully inadequate against such small, agile targets. Dozens of Hirogen ships blossomed into short-lived suns as the drone swarm mercilessly tore them to pieces. Panicked alien commanders ordered a full retreat, but the drones doggedly pursued the fleeing vessels, picking off stragglers with ruthless efficiency. From the cramped confines of his escape pod, Ymir could only watch in numb disbelief as humanity's war machines systematically dismantled his once invincible armada. The Hirogen had come to this system certain of an easy conquest against the upstart humans. Instead, they found themselves on the receiving end of a humiliating rout at the hands of a single enemy ship and its drone fleet. The implications were staggering. Humanity's technology and persistence had been grossly underestimated. Ymir's escape pod jolted as a transmission from the human ship forced its way through the pod's comms. Noah's face, etched with iron will, filled the small view screen. Hirogen Commander, your survivors are free to limp back to your empire with a message. Earth and its people are not prizes for you to seize. We will not bow to alien tyranny. Any further incursions into our space will be met with overwhelming force. Go back and tell your kind that humanity stands ready to defend what is ours. The transmission cut out, leaving Ymir alone with the bitter ashes of defeat. Around him, the scattered remnants of the Hirogen fleet limped away, the drones finally allowing them to retreat. As the last alien ships disappeared into warp, Noah opened a channel back to Earth. Space Command, this is Captain Noah Brown reporting. The Hirogen fleet has been neutralized. I repeat, the enemy has been routed, but this is likely just the beginning. We must be prepared for the storm that is to come. He uploaded the sensor logs from the battle, transmitting gigaquads of priceless data on Hirogen ships and weapons. That information could prove critical in the next round of this war. For now, though, humanity could savor this victory. They had drawn a line in the stars and declared to the galaxy that Earth would not be cowed by alien aggression. But Noah knew this fight was not nearly finished. The Hirogen would be back, thirsting for vengeance. When that day came, humanity would need to be ready. Humanity. Noah's heart pounded as he received the encrypted transmission from Earth's High Command. The stunning victory against the Hirogen fleet had shifted the tides of war, but humanity couldn't afford to rest on its laurels. Captain Brown, your next mission is critical. The stern voice of Admiral Chen crackled through the comm. We need you to penetrate deep into Hirogen space. Gather intel on their capabilities and intentions. Your ship is uniquely suited for this task. Noah's eyes widened as the Admiral revealed the true nature of his vessel. The prototype you command incorporates reverse-engineered alien tech, including an experimental cloaking device. It's our best shot at infiltrating their defenses undetected. The weight of responsibility settled on Noah's shoulders as he absorbed the enormity of the mission. He'd be venturing alone into the heart of enemy territory, risking everything on untested stealth systems. Days later, Noah's ship dropped out of warp at the edge of the Hirogen capital system. A vast array of orbital defenses surrounded the alien homeworld. Massive shipyards and command installations hung in space, bustling with activity. Noah's fingers danced across the control panel, engaging the prototype cloaking device. The ship shimmered and vanished from sight. He held his breath, watching the sensor readouts for any sign of detection. Nothing. The Hirogen defenses remained oblivious to his presence. Carefully, Noah maneuvered his cloaked vessel closer to the orbital facilities. He initiated passive scans, gathering terabytes of data on fleet dispositions and Hirogen military infrastructure. But as the scans progressed, an alarming discovery stopped him cold. There, nestled among the shipyards, loomed a colossal structure that dwarfed even the largest Hirogen warships. Its surface bristled with weapons emplacements centered around a massive forward-facing cannon. "What in God's name is that thing?" Noah muttered, enhancing the scans. His blood ran cold as the computer analyzed the schematics. This was no ordinary battle station. It was a planet killer, capable of annihilating entire worlds with a single blast. Noah intercepted Hirogen communications, decoding their encryption. His worst fears were confirmed. The doomsday weapon was mere days from completion. its first target, Earth. He knew he couldn't allow this abomination to be unleashed upon the galaxy. But what could one ship do against such a monstrosity? A frontal assault would be suicide. Noah's mind raced. There had to be a way. His eyes fell upon the hacking subroutines in his ship's computer. If he could infiltrate the weapon's systems, plant a virus. Working feverishly, Noah crafted a digital payload designed to overload the planet killer's reactor core. Meanwhile, he dispatched a swarm of stealthed drones, each carrying a potent explosive charge. When all was in place, Noah took a deep breath and executed his risky move. The drones detonated their charges at key power junctions throughout the shipyards. Alarms blared as the facilities were plunged into chaos. In that crucial moment of confusion, Noah's virus slipped past the Doomsday weapon's cyber defenses. It wormed its way into the reactor control systems, initiating an irreversible meltdown sequence. Panic erupted across Hirogen command channels as they realized their prized weapon was about to destroy itself, and likely take half the system with it. Noah watched from a safe distance as the massive battle station was hastily towed toward a nearby red supergiant star in a last-ditch containment effort. The bloated star engulfed the sabotaged planet killer just as its reactor went critical. The resulting detonation triggered a chain reaction, causing the supergiant to collapse and then explode in a cataclysmic supernova. Noah shielded his eyes from the blinding flash. When he looked again, the heart of the Hirogen Empire had been reduced to an expanding cloud of superhot plasma. Their leadership, shipyards, and doomsday weapon all vaporized in an instant. As the awesome destructive power of the blast faded, Noah plotted a course back to human space. He'd struck a decisive blow but knew the war was just getting started. The Hirogen would be out for blood now. Humanity would need to prepare for their vengeance. The shockwave from the supernova rippled through space, carrying with it the remnants of the Hirogen Empire's heart. Noah's ship raced ahead of the destructive wave, pushing its engines to the limit as it fled back to human space. Light years away, on a heavily fortified world, Supreme Commander Valcour banged his head on the war room table. The holographic display before him showed the catastrophic destruction of their homeworld system. "Those human vermin!" Valcour roared, his voice echoing through the chamber. "They dare strike at the very core of our empire?" His advisors cowered before his rage. Valcour's eyes blazed with fury as he paced the room. "We will make them pay. Every human world will burn for this insult." He jabbed a clawed finger at the star map. "Mobilize every ship, every warrior. Strip our outer colonies bare if you must. I want our industrial capacity focused on one thing, building an armada that will crush these upstarts once and for all." As Valkyr set his empire's war machine into motion, Noah's ship limped into Earth orbit. The damage from his daring mission was evident in the scored hull plating and flickering systems. But none of that mattered as he strode into the high command briefing room, data drives in hand. "Captain Brown," Admiral Chen greeted him, "your success against the Hirogen has given humanity hope. But what did you discover in their territory?" Noah's face was grim as he plugged the drives into the holotable. "I'm afraid the news isn't good, sir." The room fell silent as images of vast Hirogen shipyards and resource depots filled the air. Noah's voice was tight as he continued his report. "Despite the blow we struck, the Hirogen still control hundreds of systems. Their industrial and military might dwarfs our own. And now, we've made them angry." He met the eyes of each council member in turn. "Make no mistake. They're coming for us, and they won't stop until humanity is wiped from the galaxy." A chill settled over the room as the implications sank in. Admiral Chen's voice was resolute as he turned to his staff. "Then we'll make them bleed for every inch. Captain Brown, we need you to oversee the defenses of our frontier colonies. Take whatever resources you need. We can't afford to lose those worlds when the Hirogen come." Noah nodded, already formulating plans. Within days, he was on Arcadia, the furthest human colony from Earth. The planet buzzed with activity as Noah directed the frantic fortification efforts. I want those particle cannon emplacements dug in and camouflaged, he barked into his comlink. And get those drone hives online ASAP. We need full coverage of the system's approach vectors. He studied the tactical holomap, fine-tuning the defensive grid. Missile silos were scattered across Arcadia's mountain ranges. Orbital weapon platforms formed an interlocking web around the planet. Noah allowed himself a grim smile. They'd given this world teeth. But as the final defense systems came online, alarms blared through the command center. Long-range sensors lit up with thousands of contacts emerging from slip space. Noah's blood ran cold as the Hirogen armada filled the view screens. New warship designs of terrifying size and power led the invasion fleet. He keyed the colony-wide alert system, his voice steady despite the fear gripping his heart. All hands to battle stations. This is not a drill. The enemy is here. Noah's voice rang out clear and defiant over the comms as the Hirogen fleet loomed large on Arcadia's sensors. We will not surrender. Arcadia stands ready to fight. Supreme Commander Valkyr's face contorted with rage on the screen. Then you will be obliterated. The transmission cut off abruptly. Seconds later, the sky lit up with the searing glow of plasma torpedoes. Noah gripped the command console, his fist clenched as the barrage slammed into Arcadia's defenses. The floor shuddered beneath his feet as explosions blossomed across the orbital platforms. Interceptors away! Lieutenant Chen called out. On the tactical display, swarms of missiles streaked out to meet the incoming fire. Brilliant flashes erupted as warheads detonated prematurely, creating a protective screen around the planet. The whine of railguns filled the air as ground-based batteries opened up on the Hirogen capital ships. Streaks of superheated projectiles lanced out, hammering the alien vessels' shields with relentless fury. Noah allowed himself a tight smile as the enemy advance slowed, but his triumph was short-lived. The Hirogen tactics shifted, and waves of smaller craft poured from their carriers. Incoming fighter bombers, Major Rodriguez shouted. They're going after our surface installations. Noah watched in horror as precision strikes rained down on Arcadia's cities and military bases. Buildings crumbled under the onslaught as civilians scrambled for shelter. Anti-aircraft fire crisscrossed the sky, but the nimble Hirogen craft dodged and weaved through the barrage. Deploy the hunter-killers, Noah ordered. Banks of launch tubes opened across Arcadia's surface, disgorging swarms of heavily armored drones. The AI-controlled fighters rocketed skyward, sensors locked onto the alien bombers. A frantic dogfight erupted in Arcadia's upper atmosphere. Human drones and Hirogen fighters danced and spun in a deadly ballet, energy weapons flashing. The sky became a graveyard of twisted metal as craft from both sides fell from the heavens. Even as the battle raged overhead, Noah's mind raced. He needed a game-changer. His eyes fell on the readouts for his concealed fighter squadrons. This is our chance, he muttered. Keying the comm, he barked out orders to his elite pilots. Alpha Wing, on me! We're hitting their flagship! Noah's fighters screamed out of hidden hangars, engines blazing. They punched through the melee, scattering Hirogen escorts like leaves in a hurricane. As they closed on the massive alien vessel, Noah's targeting computer locked on. All units, fire at will. A storm of missiles and energy blasts slammed into the Hirogen flagship. Its shields flared brilliant blue, straining under the assault. For a heart-stopping moment, Noah thought they would hold. Then, with a flash of light, the defensive barrier collapsed. Noah's pilots didn't hesitate. Super lasers lashed out, carving deep into the alien ship's hull. Secondary explosions rippled along its length as the reactor core went critical. The flagship vanished in a cataclysmic fireball, the blast wave buffeting Noah's fighters. As the glare faded, he saw the Hirogen fleet in disarray, their formation shattered. On a support ship at the edge of the battle, Supreme Commander Valkyr snarled in fury. All ships, regroup. We will crush these vermin if I have to throw every last warrior at them. Noah's voice crackled over the comms, rallying his forces. Push the attack, don't let up. Human fighters and warships surged forward, pressing their newfound advantage as the battle for Arcadia reached its fever pitch. The destruction of the Hydrogen flagship sent shockwaves through the enemy fleet. On his support ship, Supreme Commander Valkyr snarled orders through gritted teeth. All ships, fall back. Regroup beyond their defense grid. Noah's voice crackled over the comms. Don't let them escape. Launch all reserves. Arcadia's orbital docks disgorged a swarm of sleek cruisers and carriers. Their engines flared blue-white as they rocketed toward the retreating Hydrogen. Noah stood on the bridge of the lead ship, the Defiant. All squadrons, engage at will, he commanded. Harass their rear guard. Don't let them catch their breath. Human fighters poured from launch bays, streaking past the larger ships. They dove into the midst of the Hydrogen formation, energy weapons blazing. Explosions blossomed as torpedoes found their marks. The Defiant's main guns spoke, hurling streams of hypervelocity rounds at distant Hydrogen capital ships. Other human cruisers joined the barrage, filling space with a storm of fire. On his battered command ship, Valkyr raged as damage reports flooded in. Intensify rear deflector screens. I want every ship capable of fighting to cover our withdrawal. Several massive Hydrogen battlecruisers slowed, turning to face the human onslaught. Their guns blazed defiantly, but they were caught in a crossfire. Noah watched as human wolf packs tore into the isolated defenders. Sir, a sensor officer called out. We're detecting energy signatures consistent with cyclonic warheads. A group of Hydrogen bombers has broken off from the main force. Noah's eyes widened. They're going for Arcadia. All nearby units, intercept those bombers. The nimble Hydrogen craft screamed toward the planet, jinking and weaving through defensive fire. Ground-based ion cannons lashed out, catching several bombers and vaporizing them instantly, but more slipped through. Hunter-killer squadrons engaging, the comms officer reported. Noah gripped his chair as the feed showed human interceptors tangling with the Hydrogen in Arcadia's upper atmosphere. Fireballs erupted as ships from both sides were blown apart. A Hydrogen bomber plummeted toward a population center, its hull trailing fire. At the last second, a human fighter slammed into it, detonating the warhead safely above the city. The bombers are neutralized, the tactical officer announced, but the main Hydrogen fleet is almost clear of our engagement range. Noah leaned forward. Where are they headed? Sir, long-range scans show them on course for the Versailles Nebula. They're trying to lose us in the gas clouds, Noah muttered. His eyes hardened. Not today. All ships, maximum burn. We're going in after them. The human fleet surged forward, eating up the distance to the nebula. Tendrils of colorful gas reached out to embrace the fleeing Hydrogen ships. Noah watched them vanish into the stellar mists. Launch the hunter-killer probes, he ordered. I want every inch of that nebula scanned. Swarms of sleek drones rocketed ahead of the fleet, plunging into the nebula. Their sensors pierced the obscuring haze, relaying data back to Noah's ship. Contact, the sensor officer shouted. Multiple Hydrogen signatures detected. They're powering up FTL drives. Noah's voice was cold. Not this time. All ships, fire for effect. The human fleet opened up, pouring everything they had into the nebula. Beams of coherent light and streams of projectiles lanced through the gas clouds. Explosions lit up the nebula from within as Hydrogen ships were caught in the barrage. Noah's ship pushed through the dissipating gas, revealing the carnage they'd unleashed. Crippled Hydrogen vessels drifted lifelessly, but one massive ship still fought on, Valkyr's command vessel. Target their primary power core, Noah ordered. Fire! The Defiant's main guns spoke one final time. Valkyr's ship shuddered as the salvo punched through its weakened shields, tearing into vital systems. Secondary explosions rippled along its hull. Noah opened a channel to the remaining Hydrogen forces. This is Captain Noah Brown. Your fleet is destroyed. Your commander is defeated. Surrender now, or be annihilated to the last ship. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, one by one, Hydrogen vessels began powering down their weapons. The battle was over. As Noah's ship limped back to Arcadia, He gazed out at the stars. They'd won a great victory today. But in his heart, he knew the war was not nearly finished. The Hirogen would not forget this defeat. They would return, stronger and more vengeful than ever. Noah keyed his comm, contacting Earth. "This is Captain Brown. Arcadia is secure, but we need to prepare. The Hirogen will be back, and next time they'll throw everything they have at us." The dust had barely settled on Arcadia when Noah received the call. Admiral Chen's hologram flickered to life in his quarters, her face etched with a mix of pride and urgency. "Captain Brown, your actions at Arcadia have changed everything. We're taking the fight to the Hirogen. You're being promoted to lead our new strike force, Operation Thunderbolt." Noah's eyes widened. "A strike force, sir?" Chen nodded. "We've combed through every scrap of intel from your encounters. It's time to hit them where it hurts." Within days, Noah stood on the bridge of the Ghost, a state-of-the-art stealth cruiser. A fleet of similarly equipped vessels surrounded him, their sleek hulls barely visible against the backdrop of space. "All ships, prepare for jump," Noah ordered. "Our first target is the Hirogen outpost on Kappa 9. The fleet vanished into slipspace, reappearing at the edge of a red dwarf system. A Hirogen station orbited a barren world, unaware of the approaching threat. "Weapons free," Noah commanded. "Hit their comm arrays first." Precision energy beams lanced out, severing the station's connection to the wider Hirogen network. Before the aliens could react, swarms of missiles struck key structural points, crippling the outpost's defenses. Noah watched the destruction unfold on his tactical display. "Move to Phase 2. Boarding teams, you're up." Assault shuttles streaked towards the stricken station. Marine teams breached the hull, securing vital data cores and sabotaging critical systems. Within hours, the outpost was a powerless husk. "Package secured," the Marine captain reported. "We've got the supply route data." Noah allowed himself a small smile. "Excellent work. All ships, prepare for immediate jump. Next target, the shipyards at Taurus Prime." And so it went. Noah's strike force materialized from the void, struck with devastating precision, and vanished before the Hirogen could mount an effective response. Outposts fell. Supply lines crumbled. Panic spread through the alien ranks like wildfire. After weeks of relentless attacks, Noah's fleet struck at a major fuel depot in the Cerberus cluster. As they prepared to jump out, alarms blared. "Sir!" his tactical officer shouted. "Multiple Hirogen signatures incoming!" A dozen Hirogen warships dropped out of slipspace, weapons blazing. Noah's hands flew over his console, barking orders. "Evasive maneuvers! Activate cloaking systems!" The Ghost shuddered as enemy fire grazed its shields. Then, in the blink of an eye, Noah's entire fleet simply vanished. The Hirogen ships hung in space, scanning frantically for any trace of their elusive foe. Noah held his breath, watching the enemy vessels drift past on silent running. "Sir," his exo whispered, "what now?" Noah's eyes hardened. "We wait, then we hit them again, and again, until they break." Days later, Noah received an urgent transmission from High Command. Admiral Chen's face was grim. "The Hirogen are massing their forces in the Gallus system. It's their last major industrial hub. Valcor himself is taking command." Noah nodded, a plan already forming. "They're trying to draw us in." Chen's lips curved in a predatory smile. "Then let's oblige them. But not alone. It's time to unleash the full might of humanity." Noah's eyes widened as he saw the fleet manifest. Thousands of ships from every human world and allied species. This would be the decisive battle. As his strike force linked up with the massive armada, Noah addressed his crew. "This is it. Everything we fought for comes down to this moment. We've bled them. We've broken them. Now, we finish it." The combined human fleet jumped into the Gallus system, immediately engulfed in a firestorm of Hirogen weapons fire. Noah's fingers danced across his command console, coordinating the massive assault. "All ships, press the attack. Don't let up." The space around the Gallus shipyards erupted into chaos. Fighters swarmed like angry insects. Capital ships traded titanic blows. Noah's strike force darted through the melee, exploiting weak points in the Hirogen defenses. Suddenly, alarms blared across the fleet. Noah's sensor officer shouted, "Sir, the Hirogen are overloading their antimatter reactors." Noah's mind raced. They were trying to take everyone with them. "All ships, target those reactors, precision strikes only." Human warships poured fire into specific points on the massive shipyards. Secondary explosions rippled across the structures as failsafes were destroyed. The Hirogen ploy had failed. Through the chaos of battle, Noah spotted Valcour's massive flagship. His eyes narrowed. "Echo Wing, on me. We're taking out their command ship." Noah's fighter screamed through space, dodging streams of enemy fire. His wing closed in on the Hirogen dreadnought, its point defenses lighting up the void. "Concentrate fire on their weapons emplacements," Noah ordered. "Create an opening." Human fighters struck with surgical precision, punching holes in the flagship's defenses. Noah seized the opportunity, diving towards the bridge. "Eat this, you bastard!" he snarled, unleashing a barrage of energy fire. The Hirogen bridge module erupted in flames. As Noah pulled away, he saw Valcour's ship begin to drift, its engines sputtering out. All around, the Hirogen fleet was in disarray. "This is Captain Brown to all ships," Noah broadcast. "The enemy flagship is crippled. Push forward. Victory is within our grasp." Grasp! The echoes of victory at Gallus had barely faded when Noah received new orders from High Command. Admiral Chen's hologram materialized on the bridge of the Ghost. "Captain Brown, your success has given us an unprecedented opportunity. We're initiating Operation Thunderstrike. You'll lead a series of deep strikes into Hirogen territory, dismantling their control sector by sector." Noah nodded, his eyes gleaming with fierce anticipation. "We'll hit them hard and fast. They won't know what hit them." Days later, Noah's battle group dropped out of stealth near the Thyrax system. The massive Hirogen stronghold loomed before them, its orbital defenses dripping with weaponry. "Sir, we're being hailed," his communications officer reported. A gruff Hirogen voice crackled over the comms. "Human vermin, you have entered restricted space. Withdraw immediately or face annihilation." Noah's lips curled into a cold smile. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega. Weapons free." The Ghost's main guns roared to life, spitting streams of hypervelocity rounds at Thyrax's orbital shipyards. Across the fleet, human vessels unleashed a devastating barrage. Energy beams lanced out, carving through Hirogen defense platforms. Missiles streaked towards command and control nodes, their warheads designed to emit powerful electromagnetic pulses. On the tactical display, Noah watched with grim satisfaction as Hirogen systems went dark one by one. Their vaunted defenses, caught flat-footed by the sudden assault, crumbled under the onslaught. "Sir, we've breached their outer defensive line," the tactical officer reported. "Ground invasion forces are ready for deployment." Noah keyed his comm. "All assault landers, you are cleared for atmospheric entry. Hammer strike teams, commence your drops." Hundreds of heavily armored dropships plunged through Thyrax's atmosphere, escorted by swarms of sleek fighter craft. On the planet's surface, Hirogen troops scrambled to mount a defense, but it was too late. From his command chair, Noah watched helmet cam feeds as human marines poured out of their landers, plasma rifles blazing. Towering mechanized walkers stomped through Hirogen formations, their weapons reducing alien strongpoints to rubble. "Team Alpha, you're with me," Noah ordered, strapping on his combat gear. "We're taking out their command bunker." Noah's shuttle screamed low over the battlefield, dodging sporadic anti-aircraft fire. They touched down hard near a massive fortified complex. Noah's team hit the ground running, their stealth suits rendering them nearly invisible. "Charge is set," his demolitions expert whispered over the comm. "Breaching in 3, 2, 1. The bunker's armored door vanished in a silent flash of light. Noah's team surged forward, their weapons spitting death, Caught by surprise, the Hirogen defenders fell in droves. Noah fought his way to the central command center, his rifle barking. The Hirogen warlord roared in fury, raising a massive energy axe. Noah ducked under the wild swing and emptied his clip into the alien's chest. As the warlord collapsed, Noah's tech specialist got to work. Uploading the virus now, sir. Their entire command network will be paralyzed within minutes. With Thyrax's leadership in chaos and its defenses shattered, the remaining Hirogen resistance crumbled. By the time the dust settled, the once mighty stronghold had fallen completely under human control. Noah stood on the bridge of the Ghost, surveying the aftermath. "Prepare for immediate redeployment," he ordered. "We're pushing deeper into Hirogen space." Over the following weeks, Noah's forces struck system after system. Cloaked ships materialized from nowhere, catching Hirogen fleets with their pants down. Special operations teams infiltrated key worlds, fomenting rebellion and sabotaging vital infrastructure. The Hirogen, reeling from these lightning attacks, found themselves unable to mount an effective defense. Entire sectors fell as Noah's armada carved a bloody path through their territory. Finally, they reached their ultimate target, Alpha Terminus. The linchpin of the Hirogen Empire's core worlds loomed before them, its defenses even more formidable than Thyrax. "All ships, prepare for orbital assault," Noah commanded. "This is where we break their back once and for all." The Ghost shuddered as it plowed through dense minefields, its point defense lasers working overtime to clear a path. All around, human ships engaged in titanic duels with Hirogen defenders. Noah Brown stood on the bridge of the Ghost, his eyes fixed on the tactical display showing Vartok Prime. The Hirogen homeworld loomed before them, a dripping fortress of weaponry and defenses. "All ships, prepare for Operation Thunderclap," Noah's voice rang out across the comm. "Remember your assigned roles. We hit them hard, we hit them fast." The human armada split into two groups. The main fleet surged forward, their engines flaring as they charged towards Vartok's outer defense grid. Noah turned to his hand-picked team of stealth operatives. "We have one shot at this," he said, his voice low and intense. "While they're focused on the frontal assault, we slip in and gut their command structure from the inside." The Ghost's cloaking field shimmered as they accelerated, weaving through the chaos of battle. Massive energy beams lanced out from Vartok's orbital platforms, met by a wall of human firepower. Noah's grip tightened on the controls as they dove past a colossal Hirogen battle station. "There," he pointed, "that comm relay, take it out." A precise burst of fire erupted from the Ghost, severing the alien structure's power core. Across Vartok's surface, similar strikes unfolded. Human stealth teams materialized from thin air, planting charges on sensor arrays and sabotaging power hubs. Noah's team touched down near a sprawling industrial complex. They moved swiftly through the shadows, their stealth suits rendering them nearly invisible. A Hirogen patrol stomped past, oblivious to the human infiltrators mere meters away. "Sir," Noah's second-in-command whispered, "look at those shipyards." Noah's eyes widened as he saw the vast construction bays, filled with half-built Hirogen warships. He tapped his comm. "Fleet Command, prioritize those shipyards. Hit them with everything we've got." Moments later, the sky lit up as human warships rained destruction upon the Hirogen industrial centers. Noah watched with grim satisfaction as years of alien shipbuilding capability went up in flames. The team pressed on, fighting their way through pockets of Hirogen resistance. They reached the outskirts of the capital city, a towering metropolis of alien architecture. "There's our target," Noah pointed to a massive fortified structure at the city's heart, the Hirogen Control Citadel. They infiltrated the city's outskirts, dodging patrols and neutralizing security checkpoints. Noah led the charge as they breached the Citadel's outer defenses, their weapons spitting silent death. Inside, they encountered fierce resistance. Hirogen warriors, sensing the end was near, fought with suicidal fury. Noah's team pushed forward room by room, level by level. "Almost there," Noah grunted, reloading his rifle. "One more push to the command center." They burst into the central hub, a cavernous chamber filled with alien technology. The remaining Hirogen defenders swarmed them, energy weapons blazing. Noah's team fought with ruthless efficiency, their superior training and technology prevailing. As the last Hirogen fell, Noah strode to the main control interface. His fingers flew over the alien controls, uploading the virus that would give him access to Vartok's entire defense network. "It's done," he announced, a fierce glint in his eye. "Vartok Prime is ours." Noah keyed in the surrender broadcast, his voice echoing across every Hirogen communication channel in the sector. "This is Captain Noah Brown of the Human Soul Dominion. Your capital has fallen. Your fleets are destroyed. Lay down your arms and surrender immediately." In the days that followed, Noah oversaw the occupation of Vartok Prime. Human forces seized control of military installations and dismantled weapon stockpiles. A military government was swiftly established, cementing humanity's dominance over former Hirogen territory. Standing atop the conquered citadel, Noah gazed out at the alien world now under human control. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The Hirogen were defeated, but the true test of humanity's determination was just beginning. Noah Brown stood at the viewport of the Ghost, his eyes fixed on the desolate landscape of Vartok Prime. The once bustling Hirogen capital now lay silent, its streets empty and buildings crumbling. He turned to face the holographic projections of his top advisors. "Report," he said, his voice heavy with exhaustion. Admiral Chen's image flickered. "Sir, demobilization is proceeding as planned. We've repatriated 60% of our forces from the outer territories." Noah nodded, but his brow furrowed. "And the liberated worlds?" "Celebrating for now," Chen replied. "But there's an undercurrent of unease." "I've sensed it too," Noah muttered. He tapped a console, bringing up a series of intercepted Hirogen transmissions. These might explain why. Intelligence just decrypted them. As Noah and his team pored over the data, their faces grew increasingly grim. The truth behind the Hirogen's relentless conquest became painfully clear. "My God," whispered Dr. Amelia Reyes, Noah's chief xenobiologist. "Their entire civilization was collapsing. Look at these atmospheric readings from their core worlds." Noah zoomed in on a holographic representation of a Hirogen planet. Its surface was a sickly brown, its oceans black with pollutants. "They strip-mined their own worlds to death," he said, disgust evident in his voice. Colonel Javier Rodriguez, head of occupation forces, spoke up. "Sir, if these readings are accurate, we may have a bigger problem on our hands than we realized." Noah's fingers flew over the controls, pulling up data on dozens of former Hirogen worlds now under human control. As the information flowed in, his heart sank. "Biosphere collapse," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's not just isolated, it's systemic." The command center erupted into frantic activity. Noah barked orders, assembling crisis response teams and redirecting resources. Within hours, triage units were deploying to the most critically affected worlds. On Nexus 4, a human colony established on a former Hirogen outpost, Noah stood in an environmental containment suit, watching as terraforming engines pumped purifying agents into the poisoned atmosphere. The sky above swirled with sickly yellow clouds. "How long?" he asked the chief engineer. The man shook his head. "Years, maybe decades, and that's if we're lucky." Noah's comm crackled. "Captain, we need you back at HQ. There's something you need to see." Back on the Ghost, Noah stared in horror at the holographic display before him. Hidden deep beneath Vartok's surface, a network of secret bunkers pulsed with ominous energy. "Bioweapons," Dr. Reyes said, her voice trembling. "Engineered to eradicate all life if the Hirogen fell. They're primed to detonate." Noah's blood ran cold. "Get our best teams down there, now." Hours later, Noah watched from orbit as human specialists worked to disarm the doomsday devices, his fingers tightening as he gripped the command console. A frantic voice cut through the tense silence. "Sir, one of the warheads. It's been triggered." Noah's world shattered as he watched a plume of sickly green mist erupt from the planet's surface. Alarms blared throughout the ship as sensors detected the rapidly spreading contagion. "Emergency quarantine protocols," Noah shouted. "Lock down all slipstream conduits." But it was too late. Reports flooded in of outbreaks on nearby worlds. The virus spread with terrifying speed, leaving swathes of necrotic devastation in its wake. Noah stood before the assembled leaders of the human fleet, his face ashen. "There's no other choice," he said, his voice hollow. "We have to contain this at all costs." The order was given. Human warships positioned themselves around infected worlds. Noah watched, his heart breaking, as the first Alpha Strike bombardment turned a thriving colony into a lifeless husk. As system after system fell silent, Noah retreated to his quarters. He stared at his reflection in the mirror, barely recognizing the man looking back at him. The weight of billions of lives extinguished by his command pressed down upon his soul. The ghost limped towards Earth at the head of a ragtag fleet of refugee ships. Noah stood on the bridge, watching the blue marble of humanity's homeworld grow larger in the viewport. He thought of the reckoning that awaited them, of the harsh truths they would have to face. Humanity had won its war against the Hirogen, but the cost was beyond measure.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.